Well, hello everybody, and welcome to this week's Shed Adventures. And well, it really has been in the background. You won't have seen it. I'm not sure whether it's a shed adventure or it's just it's been a torrid week trying to get this bow into shape. Quite literally trying to get this into shape. And let's have a look at some of the stuff that's been going on. This isn't easy. So, there you have it. While you were catching up with all the scrapings and messing around with knives and spoke shaves and smoothing planes, I did two things. I went and got myself a cup of tea because it's freezing in here. So, where are we? We basically have the makings here of a full-size 6-foot English longbow. Quick recap, we obviously found our stave, we split it, modern method, we use a circular saw as opposed to an axe and feathers. So this inside flat face is actually the face where the saw cut it. So haven't really done too much to that. And this curved outer, because we're trying to make a D shape, if you looked at it from the top, is pretty much just me taking the bark off. So the bulk of the work was taking something that was about that wide to something that's this wide, and then rounding it, and then at the end, tapering it down, cutting some little notches top and bottom so I can get a bowstring on it. This little handle here is to do two things. I did a lot of repeating myself in the last episode. I am sorry. I was going on and on about this knot, obviously fixated on it, and how wet the wood was. So two things I've done. I've had this in front of the Arga for a week, gently drying out, and it's nice and drier, let's not say dry. And to get round this knot, I've had to accept that I've got a knot where it is. So what I've done, I've strengthened it by designing it as the middle of the bow. So the least amount of bend happens here. So that knot's got to do the least amount of work. And I can strengthen it by putting a whipping handle on there. So at any time, you don't have to look and try and work out where halfway is. You grip it there. I know that when an arrow rests there, that's halfway across my bow. And off we go. So where are we? Where are the problems and what's the sort of last stage? Well, the very last stage is a process called tillering. That's the proper term for it. I call it tuning the bow, but that's not the right term. So a master bowsmith will talk to you about tillering. And what does that mean? Well, when you make a bow and design a bow, there's lots of compromises, as we know, lots of knots. The wood tends to do what the wood wants to do, and you end up with what you end up with. So this is where we are now. When we bend this bow, we would like a lovely even bend. We don't get that. So this is part of understanding the wood and the bow, and this is called tillering. So when we bend this, if I can show you, very difficult, but at the end here, the bend is where my bottom hand is. That top, all up here, basically stays flat. If you look at it, put my hand here, all the bend is coming from the middle part of the bow. This isn't curving at all. And the same, and the same can be said for the other end. Watch again. Look, the bow is down by, the bend is down by my knee. There's very little bend up here because we haven't tuned the bow up, and what we've got is too much wood up here. So both the ends of this bow are fundamentally too heavy. I haven't thinned it down this way and tapered it enough that way. So we've got to do, well, come back. So we've got, what a disaster. So we've got to do a bit more work in tillering, tuning this bow up. And this gets into there may be a little bit of planing to do, but this now starts very much moving into, you know, using sandpaper, either by hand or with the rotary sander. We're down to taking off little bits at a time and just tuning the bow. But what do we got? Well, another part of this is the draw weight and the pull length. So what's the draw weight? The draw weight is, can I actually draw this bow to its designed maximum weight and shoot it? The answer is, I can. But there's another problem, is I'm going too far back. So, draw weight's about right for me. Weak. Draw length isn't. So this bow is too long for me. And if I stand up, I'm 5'8", this bow is about 6'3". So for me, to get this length of draw shortened, I'll need to take, I suspect it would be a good couple of inches, maybe 3 or 4, off either end of this bow. And then of course you've then got to retaper it correctly. So this tillering is quite important. It will give you a bow that's tuned to you. So people just going around and picking up a bow and shooting it is nonsense, because it'll either be too powerful. I think I showed you my other bow that I can't actually pull, or you've got long arms or short arms and the length of pull's all wrong. So you have to get that right and get this bow perfectly fit for you. Now the other issue we've got is, can you see that knot there? About the worst place for it. A whopping great knot right at that point. Now what does that give us? If you were, again, talking about tillering, and if you were talking to what I'm not, which is a master bowsmith, he would say that you've created a hinge there. So a knot will not bend. All the grain is interrupted. It's just a horrible blob of wood. So when we bend this bow, what will happen there? That bit won't bend and this top bit will bend. So it, what they causes a hinge. So you've got uneven bend again around the bow. What can you do with this? Well, it's all a compromise. So you've just really got to play with the bow, understand that this bit isn't going to bend, and shape before it and after it to try and get the curvature and the power you want. I have had a chat with a chap who makes these professionally, and he said if he'd got a bow to this state and had put hours of work into it, he'd drill out that knot and just put a couple of little bits of epoxy resin in there, and he said that will kill that dead and stop that being a problem in years to come, because he does it for a living, and he said I'd probably do it with that as well. So not by the book, but we are living in the 21st century, so let's make use of some of the little gizmos we've got, like a bit of epoxy resin in a knot hole. How does it fire? Well, at the moment I haven't got arrows really long enough to give it a full test, but it's a powerful beast. There's a lot of bend in here, and this will impart, when I take a few inches off this, so I can really get the power at the right point. I want it up to about my ear, but this is going way past my ear. Yeah, we will get some serious power out of this bow. So final finishing now. We'll tiller it. We'll tune it up for me. We'll cover it in some linseed oil. I think I'll leave the knots for the minute, see how they get on when this starts to dry out over the next few months. And I'll go and find myself some longer arrows in a couple of episodes. Hopefully we can give it a bash properly. Now I've had a couple of questions and people have been going, yeah, but it's all very well you with all your modern tools and your steel knives, but what about in the good old days when maybe it was in the Bronze Age, bronze axes, or even further back, Neolithic times, when it was flints were the sharpest thing you had. The sharpest tool in the box was your flint. Well, what I'm going to do, while I need to do some work on this, I'm going to put this to one side, and I think we'll do some flint napping. I think we'll go out and we'll see if we can make some Neolithic tools, and then I can prove to myself and prove to you that I can shape this bow, the final part of it, using flint tools rather than my lovely Victorian spoke shave with its Sheffield steel. So that's what I think we'll do. We'll see how life pans out. So thank you for sticking with these 2 episodes. It's been a bit of a dirge. And I'm learning quite a lot of techniques in terms of multiple shots and editing. Learning it all very badly at the moment, so we need to do a lot of improvement, which I admit to. But hopefully you've got the gist. Hopefully we may have inspired you to go out and have a go. You can't really go too far wrong. You will end up with something, and I think you'll be shocked and surprised at just how good it is. So if you've enjoyed these last couple of episodes, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time on the next shed adventure with a bag of flints. Okay, have a lovely weekend. Bye bye.